Sir,
so why do I need to step out of this vehicle?
Because there's a Supreme Court case ruling called Pennsylvania v. Mimms that a law enforcement officer can give you a lawful directive to exit the vehicle.
Do you remember this one, the Anabolic cop who pulled a passenger out of a car citing Pennsylvania versus Mimms after this traffic stop was already over?
You have no probable cause for me to exit this vehicle, Officer Mayle, and you know it. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Okay, well, I'm gonna drag you out then.
Hey, so if you want to, hey,
I'm gonna drag you out. Yep.
go ahead, drag me out.
I have a hell of an update for you. That criminal case is now over, and I was actually pretty shocked at the outcome. And yesterday I find out that that officer is no longer with that department. Did he resign? Was he fired? Did he just move? And now he's on leave from his new department. Why? Because he just got arrested. Don't believe me? Here's his mugshot.
If you guys think that I'm in the game of violating people's rights, you'd be wrong.
Okay. Video that said otherwise.
So last night, I'm just relaxing at home, and I start getting all these messages, all these emails, and then I see on X that this West Virginia police officer has been arrested.
Belington police were called to a domestic incident on Center Avenue, and at the home, a female victim told officers that she'd gotten into an argument with 24-year-old Christian Mayle at a bar, and that he had driven her at a high-speed home, taking her phone away several times. Once home, the victim said she was on the phone with 911 when Mayle allegedly grabbed her by the throat and slammed her against a door and down onto a bed. The officer says that he saw multiple injuries on the victim. Mayle, who is currently a probationary officer with the Elkins Police Department, is charged with domestic battery. According to the Elkins police chief, Mayle has been placed on administrative leave. He previously worked as a deputy with the Barbour County Sheriff's Office and has been released on $8,000 bond.
And of course, immediately I recognized the guy because I did a video on him in June of last year. Deputy Christian Mayle with the Barbour County, West Virginia Sheriff's Office, he says, on June 2nd, 2024 at 1912 hours, I observed a dark in color Volkswagen Jetta commit a left of center violation. I initiated a traffic stop on the described vehicle in front of Hometown Pizzeria. I went ahead and got a copy of the police report from his arrest for myself, and I'm going to show it to you. But before I do, this was the backstory of what happened before the camera turned on, straight to me from Vince, the guy who filmed it. So Vince was the passenger in a vehicle. His significant other was driving him to work. He works as a nurse, I believe in a nursing home, and he really had to get there because the next shift was starting. They needed him. So it was a big hassle to get pulled over in this tiny town. On the way to work, he's going to be late. So the reason for the stop was left of center. The traffic stop went fine, really. They gave the information, and a warning was actually physically issued. So the stop was over. But then the officer says, now I want you both to get out of the vehicle. And he had to get to work. So he begins to then say, well, why do you need this to get out of the vehicle? And at that point, Vince picks up his phone. He starts filming. This is where the footage picks up. It's a common theme in many of my videos that cops like this escalate things very, very quickly, while many times there's not even any underlying criminal conduct.
So why do I need to step out of this vehicle?
Because there's a Supreme Court case ruling called Pennsylvania v. Mimms that a law enforcement officer can give you a lawful directive to exit the vehicle. And if you
under what circumstances? For driving left of center?
If you do not comply,
no, you have no probable cause for me to exit this vehicle. You have no probable cause for me to exit this vehicle, Officer Mayle, and you know it. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Okay, well, I'm gonna drag you out then.
Hey, so if you want to, if you,
I'm gonna drag you out. Yep.
Go ahead, drag me out. Go ahead and drag me out.
Well, listen, to Pennsylvania v. Mimms.
Nope.
Get out of the car.
Officer, I'm telling you, you have no right to drag me out of this car. You cannot just do that. You cannot just do that.
Get out of the vehicle.
Pulling me over for left of center. No, I'm not stepping out of the vehicle until you give me a reason.
Okay, bud.
You want to give me a reason, then I will. No, that's a bunch of shit, and you know it, Officer Mayle. I'm calling my attorney. You can arrest. Hey, no, you ain't about. Hey, now you're gonna mace me? Really, really, guy? I'm not attacking you. I'm not doing anything to you, and you mace me. What'd you call me, a motherfucker? I'm not getting out of shit until he tells me why.
Hey, William told him, get out of the car.
No, not until he tells me why I need to exit the vehicle.
Because that's the law.
No, it is not the law.
It is federal case law, Pennsylvania versus.
No, it is not. It's federal. Shut up. Hey, don't tell her to shut up.
What you can't really see is that Deputy Mayle then maced Vince, pulled him out, and arrested him, searched his car, found his prescribed medications, and ended up charging him with possessing illegal drugs, but they were actually his prescribed medications. But he also charged him with obstruction. Since I published that video, I just looked here today and got the final result of his criminal case. And it looks like Vince entered a plea agreement where the possession charge was dismissed and he pled guilty to the obstruction. But what obstruction did Vince commit? Now, I'm going to answer that question and explain whether or not he was allowed to order him out of the car. But for those of you who just want to know what's in the police report from this newest incident, I'll go over that first, then we'll get to the legal stuff. The criminal complaint charging now Patrolman Mayle was written by a state trooper in Bellington, West Virginia. And he writes that at around 0200 hours on March 30th, he responded to a domestic violence call in Bellington, West Virginia. While en route, I was informed by dispatch they had lost contact with the caller, but they could hear the female screaming and crying. I arrived on scene at approximately 0 to 12 hours and located the victim at the front door of the residence. She stated that her fiancé, Christian Mayle, had fled the scene in his personal vehicle. While other officers searched for him, I obtained a statement and photographs. In her statement, she alleged that Christian began arguing at the bar after she requested to go home. While taking her home, she stated Christian operated his vehicle, quote, at like 104 miles per hour, and repeatedly swerved off the road and told her several times that, quote, he was going to kill her. When she attempted to get her phone out, she stated Christian immediately took it from her and threw it at her. She stated she recovered the phone, at which point he ripped the phone from her hands again and threw it into the windshield, causing a large crack in the windshield. Additionally, she stated Christian grabbed her by the back of the head and slammed her head into the windshield. She continued by stating once they were home, the argument progressed, at which point she retreated to the bedroom of the house and locked herself in there. She was actively on the phone with 911 at this time. She stated Christian then forced his way through the door, grabbed her by the throat, and slammed her up into the door, and then down onto the bed. After this, Christian allegedly loaded a handgun and then left the scene. In my investigation, I did observe and photograph multiple injuries, as well as many corroborating factors in the house and vehicle. Lastly, Christian and his vehicle were located approximately 1 mile from the scene, and the officers who found him recovered 2 loaded handguns in the vehicle. Based on the facts above, Christian Mayle was placed under arrest for the crime of domestic battery at approximately 0225 hours and transported directly to the jail for processing. End of report. So that's what's alleged to have happened, and it sounds like there's a ton of physical evidence that they collected to corroborate that. And her story is a story about this guy losing his temper. And isn't that what we observed in the video of him and Vince? Was he acting according to law based on reasonable suspicion that can be objectively articulated? Or was he just losing his temper? Was Vince required to get out of the car when he was ordered out of the car? Generally speaking, police officers can order you out of a car during a traffic stop. This is for officer safety reasons. However, this is often abused by police officers. They can't order you out of the car to frisk you or search you. They can't do it to extend the length or the scope of the stop. They can't do it to punish you or just to go on a fishing expedition because they have a hunch. Officer safety has to be the reason. They just have the ability to perform the traffic stop just as they would if you're sitting in the car, but instead you're just standing outside of the car. Here, Deputy Mayle had already completed the traffic stop. In fact, he admits that in his own police report. Then he went on his fishing expedition where he orders the people out of the vehicle. So Mayle could not use the initial traffic stop as justification to do what he's doing there, to order them out of the vehicle. He has to have some other independent justification for this new detention that he's engaging in. He has to have a reasonable, articulable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot. The only reasonable suspicion that he articulated in his police report was an allegation that the driver and the passenger appeared to him to be extremely nervous. The only other thing he mentioned was that the driver's hands, this is not Vince, but the driver, they were allegedly swollen. And that's it. He didn't list anything else in his police report. Is that sufficient justification to then not just prolong the traffic stop, but to basically create another one and then order the occupants out of the car? West Virginia is in the Fourth Circuit, which controls the federal case law for that jurisdiction. U.S. versus Bowman, Fourth Circuit 2018, involved a traffic stop under similar circumstances. A routine traffic stop that was prolonged or lengthened into this drug investigation, and in that case, they did find drugs and they prosecuted the guy. In the end, everything was thrown out because the Fourth Circuit found that the Fourth Amendment was violated. Why? Because the suspicion just wasn't enough. In that case, the officer said that he observed nervousness. He observed items in the car, including a suitcase, loose clothes, and an energy drink, which in his mind indicated they were lying about the length of their trip. And also that the driver said he recently purchased the Lexus he was driving. And in the officer's opinion, that's something that drug dealers do, is they switch cars pretty often. Okay, the court held that was not enough. And specifically on nervousness, the court said a driver's nervousness is not a particularly good indicator of criminal activity because most everyone is nervous when interacting with the police, so it's of limited value to the reasonable suspicion analyses. That doesn't mean that nervousness is never relevant to reasonable suspicion, but nervousness alone is not enough. It has to be coupled with more. Totality of these circumstances. The only more given by Deputy Mayle was swollen hands. But I get swollen hands all the time because I have rheumatoid arthritis. That's one of the reasons why I have to wear a rubber wedding ring, because my hands get swollen at times depending on a number of things, including the temperature. I asked Grok, can swollen hands be indicative of criminal activity? And he said swollen hands alone are not a direct indicator of criminal activity. Medically, swollen hands can result from a variety of causes: poor circulation, injury, arthritis, allergic reactions, or even heart and kidney issues. There's no inherent link to crime in that. That said, context matters. If someone's hands are swollen from, say, a physical altercation like bruised knuckles after a fight, that could tie into criminal behavior depending on the situation. But the swelling itself, not a smoking gun. It's just a symptom, not a confession. Here, Mayle was saying that that is indicative of somebody injecting illegal drugs. That may be the case, but I've injected no illegal drugs and my hands are swollen all the time. So just like nervousness is something that a lot of innocent people will have at traffic stops, a lot of innocent people are going to have swollen hands. So that's just absurd. If we're looking at this objectively, he did not have valid, reasonable suspicion to restart another detention after he had already written the driver the citation. So how did Vince commit obstruction by not getting out of the car? In my opinion, he didn't, but I wasn't his lawyer in this case. And a lot of times for people, it's just easier, especially after months of fighting and having it hanging over your head, to just agree to some sort of plea deal where you don't have to pay anything else. You don't have to go to jail. You don't have any other punishment. You just sign a piece of paper and you're done. A lot of times people will agree to that rather than, fighting, having a trial, and then if you lose, having an appeal, etc., etc. Even after moving to his new department, it seems that now Patrolman Mayle at the Elkins Police Department, that's in Randolph County, West Virginia, had been sort of doing the same thing. Here's some brand new footage that I received showing a traffic stop where Mayle is asking for consent to search this car. Traffic stop, minor traffic allegation. I believe it was loud exhaust.
Here's the documentation. So the traffic infractions, okay, verbal warning. All right, get the windshield fixed whenever you can, get the exhaust fixed whenever you can. And what happened to the front of you?
A lady ran into me, an older lady. She couldn't see.
Okay.
I told her not to worry about it.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody will be nice to me whenever I'm old like that. I can't see.
I got you. Yeah, that's not bad. So, listen, where are you coming from? You're coming from welding school in
Buchanan.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, like I said, disposition's verbal warning, okay? Secondary detention, you ladies are not free to leave this time. Is there anything inside the vehicle that I need to be aware of?
No.
No.
What is it? What was the first part?
Is there anything inside the vehicle
Before
that
that.
I need to be aware of? Disposition, verbal warning. Not gonna
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
You've already got 6 points in your license, failure to identify. So
Well, I really appreciate that.
you need to add to that, okay?
Right. And no, you're good. We're good.
Okay, well, what I'm going to have you do is shut the vehicle off and get the lady stuck out, okay?
Okay.
He's ordering the people out of the car and he's asking consent to search, but then he says, but I don't need your consent because I have a dog.
Why is that?
Because I'm going to deploy my narcotic detection canine to conduct an open air sniff around
It's
the
so
vehicle.
cold. Are we doing this? I
Listen,
thought
you
it
don't
was a
have to.
warning.
You don't have to be okay with this, all right? So you can.
I was just curious.
So you can deny consent to search the vehicle, but where I have
Won't
a
that
dog,
just like
where
draw
I
it out?
where I have a dog, I don't need your consent, okay?
So his dog is still in his police cruiser. The dog is not sniffing the car. He has no probable cause from a dog sniff. He's on his own fishing expedition without the dog.
Oh, okay, so I don't have to get out?
No, you have to get out
Oh, why do I have to get out?
because so I can run my
It's
dog
so
around
cold.
your car, and that's for the 3 of your ladies' safety.
Okay. You let you out?
If he was just a narcotic detection dog, you know, maybe, because then the only thing that I really have to worry about is officer safety, but he is also a bite dog. So that's for your guys' safety. You guys step out.
Does having a dog allow the officer to search your vehicle without consent?
Yes, it does, miss. It's called a warrantless search. Okay?
It does not violate your Fourth Amendment.
No, it does not violate your Fourth Amendment. If
Sorry,
you guys,
somebody has to let me out.
If you guys think that I'm in the game of violating people's rights, you'd be wrong.
Saw a video that said otherwise.
Hey, Dad.
I can get it. Yes.
How do I
You
do
gotta
live?
look down.
Yeah, here, I'll
Look
get it.
down
Can I
into it,
get
you'll
it?
see a white-
Can I get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's gonna get you.
Yeah, I got you. There's a little button down in there you push down on.
Okay.
He's doing exactly what he was not supposed to do, which is to prolong the stop to fish for drugs. I mean, he's right there committing an illegal search. So why, you may ask, is he at this new department? Well, that involves yet another video. And that video, from my understanding, is the reason that he was basically forced to resign from the agency he was working at last and move to a new one. And I have that video, and that will come to you in an update because that one deserves a video of its own. So you're not going to want to miss the next video on this guy. Please subscribe both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. Also check out the new Freedom is Scary merch. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.